Hi, I'm heading to town again. Uh, I'm actually making this video after I've gone to town, but as an introduction to what's coming, what's going to follow. I went and got some broccoli, some onions, bag of carrots, things I forgot on my last trip, which I videoed. But I also bought a window, well, a dash mount, not too expensive, $13, for my camera to get a fuller view from the windshield. And so what you're going to see is a little bit of that. Uh, I'm not going to give the whole trip back. I'll probably start as I'm going towards the uh, little lookout spot just outside of Stanford, overlooking Stanford, and then bring it on home from there. In the video, I will discuss some theology, some prophecy. Don't know what I'll title this video. It could be Prophecy on the Road, Bible Study on the Road, something like that. But you'll get the idea. I hope you'll enjoy it, and here we go. There's a lookout here, down here, a pull-off. Not too far down the road. And it's a scenic view. Quite a bit of graffiti on the wall, unless they've cleaned that up, I don't know. It's been a long time since I've been down here. This is really heading back towards Stanford. We'll come out there by the fairgrounds. Here we are. Okay. Let me clear this curve and we can see nobody's coming. Okay. Yeah. There's that lovely graffiti. Somebody left a little bit of their trash there on top. I'm going to get out now and we'll have a view. This is looking back out towards, back to Stanford, down the road we just came. There's a wider angle of the shot. And then I guess I'll give you this and then maybe a little telephoto here of the view. And let's try a 10 power and see what that gives us off into the distance. Now, back out a little bit. Yeah, it's pretty cold here. I'll go to wide angle and show you where I'm at. Got a hill here. And that's where I've come down from. Little car there. Oh. Well, there's a lot of trash here that I can't pick up. But I can get this. Yeah, I just checked the temperature after coming back in the car from the lookout. 29 degrees. I had a small trash bag and, well, shopping little plastic Walmart bag. I picked up a few things. Yeah, I hate to see all the trash out there. A few beer cans. And with the graffiti, I guess this is where a lot of kids, teenagers come, and I get it. It's a view. A good pull off here. Sit and have your lunch. But I hate that they just throw the trash out, whoever they are. I guess that would be a charitable thing to do, would be to come over here. If I were local, I guess we could do it, to pick up some trash every once in a while. I don't want to make it sound like I'm overly civic-minded. That's an ideal that I seldom follow through on. It was easy at hand, so I could do it. There's a text in Revelation, part of the judgment, where God said he will destroy the destroyers of the earth. It's his earth. It's his creation. And we do have a responsibility. He gave Adam and Eve dominion, and they lost that dominion when they sinned. Satan became the ruler of this world, as Jesus says, limited under the restraints of God. But Adam surrendered that dominion to the enemy about 6,000 years ago. And the earth has paid a price. It says in Romans that the whole creation groans along with us, waiting for the redemption of our bodies, the redemption that comes at the second coming of Jesus. We call that in theology a realized eschatology, the now and the not yet. We groan now. We do not yet have the promised salvation, but if we're faithful to the covenant with God, we will have it someday, and I believe it's coming someday soon. So let's get back on the road with that thought and head home. Okay, we're going to get back on the road here. You know, I can't remember the state route name for this road. I see that my sister's calling. Got do not disturb on. I guess I'll have to call her back. I'd called her earlier. She's returning my call, I'm sure. That's Ruth Ann. Sorry, Ruthie. I'll get back with you in a little bit. Nothing major. Wanted to talk to you about a couple things, but nothing so urgent. I was just in Walmart the other day, and yeah, I better put my seatbelt on. I was in Walmart the other day, and I forgot a couple things. We needed a few more white onions. I have some, but I wanted to get them. I don't know how long the snow's going to be. And not that we're going to get snowed in. It's not going to be that much, even 4 to 6 inches. We might be off the roads for a few hours, but they keep them pretty clear here. Unless it's real icy. Patrick and I both have 4-wheel drive, which means that we can we can get around most places around here. Of course, I hope you know that 4-wheel drive doesn't mean it gives you more stopping power. And we see accidents that way. People get over enthusiastic in their 4-wheel drive, especially younger drivers. Accidents happen. We're on 643 now. I don't know what that was that I was at, where the lookout is. I remember now. Forgetful me. 1247. One of those little short segments of 1247 that crisscrosses 27. This is a very windy road. I came through here one evening with Johnny Yoder, bringing him back from somewhere. I used to drive Johnny quite a bit. He's a logger, Amish. And I'll tell you, the fog was so thick, I couldn't see these yellow lines on the road, and I could barely see past the front of my truck. I think I was driving the 1-ton dually at the time. I'm glad that he was with me. He could see a little better than I could, and we were going slow, and we made it. But the fog had just descended. It was as thick a fog that I'd ever been in, I think, several years ago. I miss them. I think a lot of Johnny and Arlene and Jason and Tim, the twins, Karen and Sharon, the other kids. Spent a lot of time driving them the last few years. Good people. And Arlene, John's wife, lost her father. Irving Byler, to cancer. I think it's been more than 2 years now. Time passes so quickly. But I always felt very close to him. He and John worked together logging, but I would drive them, as families separately. Irv and his wife, all the kids were grown, out of the house. Irv was one of the favorite people, one of my favorite people in life. We were about the same age, less than a year apart, I think. Of course, he could outwork me on any day till he got sick. But he loved to rebuild things, old tractor, or piece of equipment, mechanically minded. Something about him, and part of it was the mechanics, reminded me so much of my grandfather. Window pool. Uh-oh, I have lost a microphone. I zipped up my jacket. Oh, there it is. Wow, that really scared me. So I guess you've been able to hear me. Okay. It scared me because it's an expensive microphone. Let me not zip up that jacket. I thought I may have lost it back at the lookout. I'm pulled over here and okay, I've got it. Let me get back out. No traffic coming, I guess. Okay. Woo. Yeah. Well, I have an extra mic. It came with two. It's a Hollyland M2, Hollyland Lark M2. Highly recommend it. Very good wireless mic. There's two of them in it that you can interview someone if you wanted. I'm very pleased with the microphone. Similar to a DJI unit. There are differences, but not the amount of much for me anyway. In my last video, we came this way, going the other way to Stanford. Across the way there you see the only Catholic church in the area. I can't remember the name of it. And there you see the sign, Ottenheim. This is the Ottenheim community. We're going back through. I don't know how much of this video, I've been videoing off and on coming back from Stanford, but this just lets you see the winter countryside. It's just a better view than my last video. I hope it's clear as well. For those that come to the channel again for spiritual things, you know, I'm still studying in Daniel and Revelation. I want to do something on the mark of the beast. It would take a series of videos because it's a little bit of a complicated subject. At the best of times, it's often been very misinterpreted. The mark often taken quite literally as if it was some kind of tattoo or biomarker or implant. That's not the case. The context is clearly symbolic. It has to do with the allegiance or worship of the beast. And the marking is a evidence of who we worship. There will be a decision made about worship. And only those who worship the beast will be able to buy and sell. Others will be restricted. They'll be persecuted. There'll be a death decree that if you don't have the mark of the beast, you'll be in great danger. But to understand that, we have to go back into Daniel. We can start a little bit in Daniel 2, but then you really need to understand Daniel 7, 8, and 9, but really Daniel 7 to get a start, because John 13, there's two beasts, one coming out of the sea and one coming out of the land. And they have their origin, especially the beast out of the sea, is linked to Daniel's first vision. That same beast is introduced in Daniel 7. And the identification of that is initially Imperial Rome, the Roman Empire. We know that because in Daniel 2, you've got the image that's represented by a succession of kingdoms. Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece. Rome is not mentioned, but historically, there is no dispute that Rome not only followed Greece, but it was the greatest of all empires. And working on some lines there. And then out of that dominion of Rome comes a religious power. It's called the little horn. And in Daniel 7, there's a little horn that's comes up. It takes away 3 of the horns, it supplants them and roots them up. And there's some historical precedent for that. Some of the tribes that were attacking Rome, and they were Aryan tribes, Visigoths. Well, I won't go into all of them. There's several, and some that I can't remember right offhand, but to name them. But anyway, this little horn power can't be really anything other than the papacy, solidifying its power around 538 AD. Now there's some, not a few really, who try to apply that power to Antiochus Epiphanes, and there's no way to fit him into the dates of the 2300 day, which is also 2300 year prophecy in Daniel 8:14, and then the 490 years leading up to the coming of Jesus, Daniel 9:24 through 27. You just can't make Antiochus Epiphanes fit those prophecies, not doing proper exegesis or interpretation. But anyway, it's during the time of papal power that the judgment begins, preceding the second coming of Jesus. You've got that opening of the books in Daniel 7:10, 13, 14. And it's under the Roman rule, Roman power, that Christ comes. Well, there is no great Roman power right now apart from papal Rome. The reformers took that view, and I continue on with it as well. Again, it fits proper rules of biblical interpretation. When you combine the work of that beastly power in Daniel 7, we know it's a religious power because of the blasphemy of aspiring to the throne of God, in conflict with God, replacing the gospel with a false gospel, the idolatry that's associated with that power, that beast, the image making of the earth beast, that it makes an image to the sea beast. The sea beast, again, is linked to the beast in Daniel 7. What you have in prophecy is repetition. Some call it recapitulation. There's a vision, Daniel 2. Details are added in Daniel 7, and then 8, and then 9, 10, 11, 12. But the series is really expanded. And in each of the main visions, the culmination is the dominion is given to Christ and his people who keep covenant with him. When you get to Revelation, you have the 7 churches, the 7 seals that are opened by the Lamb, Jesus, the 7 trumpet series, the 7 last plagues. The seals and the trumpets both end in the coming of Christ with this great earthquake that's never been seen before on the face of the earth. The mountains disappear, the islands. It's cataclysmic. The seals and the trumpets follow, they recapitulate, they review same time periods, but different events. A different emphasis. All having to do with judgment of some sort. But you get the full historical segment from Revelation 12 to the end of 14, which there is revealed the great controversy theme between Christ and Satan. And that begins with the birth of Jesus and ends with the second coming again. The picture is filled out with the symbols. And all the symbols can be interpreted by comparing Scripture. Scripture interprets those symbols. We don't need the newspaper. We don't need science philosophers to do that for us. We're told in Scripture that the beast represent kingdoms, the horns represent kingdoms and powers, that the sea represents multitudes, nations, social upheaval, and so on. There's specific texts for that. Check out Daniel for that too. It's 727, I believe, about the beast. 717. We're heading home here again. Just up the road, about to turn in the driveway, I see that Patrick's gone. So we'll shut it off here, and we'll see what I can put together for you. Okay, now that I'm in the driveway here, it just took a minute. Get ready to take the groceries in. I think I'll sum up by saying I'm going to present a little more detail, a little more Scripture evidence with the things that I've been asserting about the beast. We need that introduction to do a more detailed study on the mark of the beast, what it is. It's the most severe warning in Scripture from God. Those who receive the mark of the beast will be lost. They will be punished. It's really horrific end to a human life. Not because God is delighting in torture, but he simply brings upon the wicked their own designs. What they meant for others comes back on them. The principle of judgment in God's economy, in God's government, is called the lex talionis. It's Latin for eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. It's not that he's delighting in knocking people's teeth out or poking their eyes. It's that it's actually a limitation, a definition on justice, that no more is exacted than what is due. If you were to cause someone to lose their eye, you don't have a right to take their life, for example. The same thing with a tooth or any other part of the body. And that's from the beginning, God's principle of justice that he had given to Israel, which is really, it's measured with mercy. And throughout the final punishment, the destruction of the wicked. I've said before, there's no eternally burning hell. The consequences are eternal, and there's metaphors used for that. It sounds, if you interpret it literally, yes, the smoke of their torment ascends up forever and ever, but it's a figure of speech. A loving God is not, he has no need, he has no desire. There's nothing in his character that would cause him to torture poor creatures for an eternity. They will receive their punishment and they'll be destroyed. You may disagree with that, and there's some scriptures that you could challenge me with, and I'm willing to talk with you about them. I'm aware of them. Like I say, there's metaphor, there's symbolic language being used. Even the term forever and ever is always understood in this context. When something is destroyed forever, it doesn't mean it's being punished forever. It's gone forever, for as long as that thing will last. Now, when forever is applied to God, there is no end because God is eternal in his nature. But when the words forever and forever are used with anything having to do with humanity or human history, it's to the end of the age, to the end of the lifespan of that thing. And again, that's not something I'm just making up out of thin air. That's good Bible interpretation when you compare Scripture with Scripture, what it says. So I repeat a little bit. Some people are new to my channel. If you want to make a comment, please do. Give me your point of view. I'm not looking so much for opinion as I am for some scripture. Please support your views with scripture. Church tradition, creeds, that doesn't hold any weight with me unless it's supported by scripture. I follow the Reformation principle of sola scriptura, the Bible and the Bible only as our authority. In moral, spiritual things, certainly. I could digress and get on to some other subjects with that, but we'll leave that for now. Okay, thanks for riding along with me, and I hope it's been helpful for you. I'd been talking with grandson here. He's an adopted grandson, just for those who don't know. But anyway, we've been talking, and I don't know if I mentioned it in the last video or not. I was at the cutting board, and we were talking about AI and technology and his views on how things may end. And I had a different point of view, and I was sharing that with him. And afterward, he said to me that's a good way to do things, that we're talking about it in the midst of daily life. And he suggested I might try doing that on the video. And so we've explored setting up a tripod and using my gimbal and so on in the kitchen, and doing daily tasks while sharing or talking. He said it's more relatable. It's more relatable for him. More relatable than a preaching service, an evangelistic meeting. And in church, we call this personal ministry. I don't know what you want to call it when we do the videos this way. It's certainly personal. I try to make it that way. But how successful I am, I don't know. Anyway, let's piece these different clips of video together, perhaps with a little introduction, and go from there. God bless. Take care until next time. I might do a driving around video with the snow tomorrow. We're supposed to get, like I said, 4 to 6 inches tonight, and with my new mount here on the dash, I may be able to get some nice snow views if it's not too dangerous to drive. So wouldn't have to go far for you to get the idea of what we're looking at. Yes, take care. We'll see you later.